At the exact moment the clock strikes midnight on January 1st. More than 7 billion people across the planet begin counting down together. Yet there is something strange about this moment. None of them ever chose that date. You never signed an agreement. You never voted. And whether you live in Europe, Asia, or Africa, you are still expected to celebrate the New Year, according to a calendar created in the 16th century, the Gregorian calendar, established by a European pope. So the question is, why does the entire world agree to share the same moment? The answer is not religion. It is not astronomy. It is the result of economic negotiation, political pressure, and the psychological need for synchronization. January 1st is not a cultural gift. It is a byproduct of globalization. Humans have a peculiar need to be allowed to start over. Psychologist Catherine Milkman calls this phenomenon the fresh start effect. When a special time marker appears, we feel permitted to discard past failures and reset our goals. But why does the whole world need to do this together? Because collective psychology creates shared belief, the foundation of every economy. When everyone pauses at the same moment, productivity, markets, and consumer behavior synchronize. Businesses close their financial books. Governments rebalance budgets. Individuals mentally restructure their lives. New Year's Day, therefore, is not just the beginning of time, it is a renewal cycle of belief. Historically, every culture had its own reset. The Chinese followed the Lunar New Year. The Islamic world marked Muharram. Ancient Babylonians celebrated Akitu in spring. But once global trade and mass communication emerged, this diversity became friction. Different calendars created economic drag, half the world on holiday, the other half still trading. The result, humanity converged on a single, neutral date, January 1st. Not because it was meaningful, but because it was financially convenient. Before the 18th century, nations did not share the same calendar. While Britain still used the Julian calendar, continental Europe had adopted the Gregorian calendar, creating an 1-day gap. An English merchant arriving in France to sign a contract dated February 15 would discover that locally, it was only February 4. This temporal mismatch created what economists now call invisible transaction costs, the cost of time misalignment. Not only paperwork, but ships, military campaigns, and tax deadlines required constant conversion. A world without a shared time standard is a world trapped in administrative friction. As transatlantic trade exploded, clocks became strategic weapons. Maritime empires like Britain and France quickly realized whoever controls time zones controls the flow of the world. So, in 1752, Britain was forced to surrender to the Pope's calendar despite having long denounced it as a Catholic conspiracy. 11 days were erased from history to synchronize with continental Europe. From that point on, time became shared economic infrastructure, much like the internet would later become. The more interconnected the economy grew, the more standardized time had to be. Once that happened, January 1st stopped being tradition. It became a financial institution. When the Industrial Revolution spread, time synchronization became urgent. In 1884, representatives from 26 countries gathered at the International Meridian Conference and selected Greenwich, London, as the global time reference. From this decision, UTC was born. If the Gregorian calendar is the world's framework, UTC is its heartbeat. Every bank, airline, satellite system, and stock market depends on that heartbeat. In the 20th century, when ISO issued ISO 8601, officially defining January 1st as the start of the year, no nation objected, not because they trusted astronomy, but because global commerce had reshaped culture. Look at how the world celebrates New Year's Eve. Fireworks ripple from Sydney to Dubai, London, and New York like an assembly line of global celebration. Marketing campaigns, tourism, discounts, investment cycles all operate around the same reset point. January 1st has transcended religion. It has become the language of productivity. A single day, the world agrees to pause only to restart together, in the same rhythm. But what happens if we leave Earth? On Mars, a day lasts 24 hours and 39 minutes, and a year stretches to 687 Earth days. When NASA plans interplanetary missions, scientists must invent new systems such as Mars Sol Date, a timekeeping method unique to the red planet. So, if humanity spreads across multiple planets, will New Year still exist? Possibly not, because New Year is not a physical law. It is a social contract. Some anthropologists call it a necessary illusion, one that allows humans to believe they can control time. In reality, time flows continuously. There is no true beginning, but the act of stopping together, celebrating together, counting down together, that collective behavior creates a sense of order. If humans settle on Mars, they will likely invent another symbolic reset. And whatever date they choose, it will once again represent something larger than the individual. Time itself is a free-flowing stream. No day is inherently more important than another. But humans, to avoid getting lost in infinity, have created psychological anchors. January 1st is the largest anchor humanity has ever built. It did not originate from stars, the moon, or the sun. It came from sociology and economics, a moment to synchronize globally, an illusion that we can begin again, an unspoken agreement that the world will pause, then move forward together. No government ordered the world to celebrate New Year at the same time, but globalization removed the alternative. January 1st exists because it is convenient, because it is efficient, because it synchronizes belief. So, when you raise a glass, watch fireworks, or count down on New Year's Eve, remember, you are participating in the largest socio-economic ritual in human history, a day created not by the stars, but by humanity's desire to feel united. And perhaps that moment when the entire world shouts Happy New Year reveals the deepest truth of all. Time does not belong to the universe. It belongs to our shared belief.